Hey, Death Cafe friends, how are you all doing? How COVID treating you all? Most places are opening up in the Caribbean and around the US, the UK, the developed, like they say, developed world. They say we live in what we call S-hole countries, but we have done so very well with COVID here. And so the thing is that with everybody going back out, you got to keep in mind we still have to do the mask thing. It's very important. We got to wash hands regularly still, and social distancing is still a very vital thing to do to keep us safe. Even here in Trinidad, where things are reasonably good, we've done very well. Friends in Trinidad, it is still vital. Follow the instructions of the ministry, the government, etc., and we'll stay safe. I see a lot happening about Black Lives Matter. It's quite a challenge. I have children in the US. I have grandchildren, young men, and I just called on them. I said, hey, listen, guys, how are you all doing? And gave them some tips, basically. And I have said, because I have been able to witness how some young black men behave when confronted by the police, I was able to caution my grandsons and share with them, one of the best things to do, you're being pulled over, ready yourself. So by the time the officer comes, your hands are outside. If it's night, your lights are on and your paperwork are at hand. Of course, if the officer is behind you, you don't want to be fidgeting in the car too much. He will be uncomfortable with that by the time he approaches your vehicle. Extremely courteous and helpful to the officers. If even you're not satisfied with the way they treat you, remain courteous and helpful. It is absolutely vital. I hear what is happening in the US now. Once there's a pullover or police action, members of the public pull up and start videotaping. It's a step in keeping you safe. So young men, young black men in the US and around the world, be wise. It's all about survival and living to face another day. If even you had to cut your hair, don't challenge. And I know it's quite a story, that you cut your locks or you're not wearing your hoodie. The problem is, while you have a right to wear the style you so choose, maybe you live to fight another day. Check that out. Think about it. But today, friends, we're talking about Death Cafe and some of the things about Death Cafe. Boy, we got quite a few questions in and one juicy one, but I'm saving the most juicy one for last. Now, my team here will keep me going. Remember, I need 3 minutes near the end so that I can share the juicy one. Right? A real Death Cafe conversation, people. And we will talk about that as we're coming up. So some of the questions we have had over the period is, what is the process for repatriation of a deceased loved one? And I know that came out of London, I believe it was, our listeners out there in the diaspora who would have family back here and would be so concerned about that. What happens? That's a process. Firstly, there are choices. We always say if someone is intended to be brought home to Trinidad, that's repatriation from that country, sent back home. Repatriation to Trinidad. And if we are sending someone back from Trinidad, we call it expatriation. So at least you're clear on the terminology, and so we won't get confused. So today we'll talk a little bit about repatriation to Trinidad from the Trinidad diaspora, where our brothers and sisters are all scattered. So Londoners, here's the story. And of course, Florida, New York, Washington, Texas, wherever we're scattered, Toronto, Delaware, wherever we are, this is the story. Firstly, contact us here at Belgroves. We have a global network of funeral homes where we'll be able to support you. In doing that, there are a number of things have to happen. If the person lived out there for a long time, and you may want to continue and have a funeral service there, we'll guide you through that. We have a funeral celebrant In fact, my eldest daughter, a funeral celebrant in Florida, her name is Anissa Belgrove, and she is part of Belgroves Global, because we do these services through Belgroves Global. So she will guide you. She's a qualified funeral celebrant and would help you in funeral homes and some of the documentation, and even planning the tribute for your relative there in the U.S., in her area in Florida. So funeral home selected, and they will assist by the taking in the care for the person, your relative, also the person who've died. And some people say left the body. Hint, hint. So the thing about it is, when that happens, the funeral home then has to do a number of documentation. They have to get a death certificate, or if an autopsy, from the medical examiner's office. The relatives have to hand over important information, like the green card or the passport if it was just a visitor, and any form of ID. They will begin making arrangements whether you're going to have a service there or whether we're shipping back to Trinidad. Anissa, especially in the Florida area, Anissa is well versed, and she will guide you through those things. I'll give you her email address at the end. Team, remind me to call that email address. Why don't I do it now? It is Caribbean Funeral Shipping at belgroves.com. Caribbean Funeral Shipping at belgroves.com. Very easy. I'm bad with remembering phone numbers, so if you log on, we'll be able to see the phone number there. It's a 954 number there in Florida. And Anissa will guide you through the details. So with all the paperwork done, we must have the permission of Trinidad Ministry of External Affairs to have somebody sent back or repatriated to Trinidad. There is a protocol where Trinidad allows only Trinidadians to come in for burial or cremation. So the funeral home must have the passport to prove the person is Trinidadian, and they will then send, or maybe Anissa will send it onwards to the nearest embassy from Trinidad and Tobago or consulate. That department will then, Trinidad department in the diaspora, will then apply to the Ministry of External Affairs back here in Port of Spain for permission. They will send the passport information. When permission is given, back to the whether it's London, wherever we are around the world, permission is given, the funeral home receives permission. When they receive it, or even Anissa receives it, it then comes to us back here in Trinidad. We then advise the agents, the airline agents, and they will accept the person and the casket from the funeral home in wherever that part of the world is. When that is done, we have to get what we call a landing permit in Trinidad, an onerous procedure, and one day we'll sit with the government to see how we could simplify that procedure. That can take sometimes much of a morning to do, and near holiday time it can take as much as a day. The person then accepted by the airline, and we get our custom brokers here in Trinidad to clear. That's a real long answer, but in a nutshell, that is what it is. So the cost of repatriation is one of the questions that were asked. It is the cost of the celebrant, cost of the funeral home, and there are ways, if you're having a service there, it's more expensive. If you're going to be coming straight home with no service there, there's a method, and this I will advise you about, as to how to go about it, to keep the cost of the funeral service in the diaspora, as well as the freight, much lower. With COVID-19, someone just asked if you can come in. Honorees come in as freight. We have been able to send honorees out during COVID into the diaspora, but we have not brought in any. And that is a question we are now trying to clarify with our government. Once the cause of death was not COVID, I will say yes to that answer, and so that we will make the necessary arrangements. So Caribbean Funeral Shipping at belgroves.com, and you will get us there. We will respond to you as very quickly and get things going. Even if you're not close to Nissa in Florida, she can help with the contact wherever we are around this world. So we'd be able to help you. Our international services. One of the things we do, beside Anissa being head of Belgroves Global out there in the diaspora, we have a product that we call Family Legacy. It's a funeral funding product. And I like to tell people it's one of the best advertisements or best financial products, I meant to say, in this country, Trinidad and Tobago. In that, you have an opportunity to purchase a funeral plan well ahead of need. You do it in your living years. And the initial plan goes up to a particular age. It has no health restrictions, but a short waiting period. When you purchase that plan out there in the diaspora, you can take care of your loved ones back here in Trinidad, who may soon need the services, the professional services that we offer. Or if it is, you wanted to be sent home, or you have a relative there that you will want to be repatriated to Trinidad, the fund comes in. We will use that fund to pay the funeral services external to Trinidad, please excuse me, as well as pay the services here in Trinidad based on the plan you choose. We have plans that will start from 20,000 Trinidad dollars to up to 100,000 Trinidad dollars. And you can buy that through Caribbean Funeral Shipping or FLC at belgroves.com. FLC at belgroves.com. And we make arrangements as to how you pay it online quite easily. We make it very easy for you at all times. We have, as I was just saying, my daughter Anissa Belgrove is in the Florida area. We are still in the process of establishing a number of representatives around the US, Canada, and London, where there will be that representative. But we have funeral home representatives around the world. It's set by zip code, and if I use the American term. So based on the zip code, we make this selection out of our national network, international network of funeral homes. If you want to bring somebody out of Sierra Leone, we have someone there. South Africa, Singapore, China, different states of China. We can do it because we have that network available, even in Taiwan. So that's some of the questions. And how long it takes? It takes different times around the world. In London, it takes the longest because their coroner process is much longer. The coroner and the medical examiner is the same thing. So the Americans will say medical examiner, and in the Caribbean or Commonwealth, we will say coroner. So it's basically the same thing. And in the UK, they take quite long. It can take up to about a month to get someone home. Out of the US, since 9/11, there have been a number of security issues that were put in place, and it now will take up to from a minimum of 5 up to about 7 days. Previous to 9/11, it can be done in about 3 days, but 5 to 7 days. Of course, if it's happening around long holiday periods, either in the US or back here, and anywhere in the diaspora or back here, again, that could impact the number of days. If it is that, like in the COVID situation, and the person did not die of a COVID cause, and the ME or medical examiner's office is so extremely busy, that could impact it if an autopsy had to be done as we wait for in turn. It's not out there where we can say, hey, partner, help me out now. Hey, partner, help me out based on the turn. based on the schedule. So that's how it works. So that's some of the things that we can share about repatriation. But you see that product, Family Legacy, powerful product. Everyone out there around the Trinidad and Tobago diaspora, log in, find out more about this product. It works well, especially if you're paying in foreign currency. It's a very small amount to protect your own well-being in the future, because it can bring you home if necessary when your time is at hand, when the maker signs off and says it's time to come to him. So the bottom line of it, it works well. Contact us and we will have these things well set for you. You have a death in the Florida area, remember, Anissa Belgrove at Caribbean Funeral Shipping at belgroves.com. The plan covers the primary person and 6 other persons. So it works where once you purchase that plan, you can put on other persons. The eldest person you can put on would be 65 years old. I didn't mention, but for people over 70, 69 and plus, they can buy what we call our Supreme Legacy Plan. Another fantastic financial product. And so that if you don't qualify for Family Legacy, which is an insurance-based plan, there is the Supreme Legacy. And just check us. Log in to flc@belgroves.com for more information, or contact Anissa at her email address, caribbeanfuneralshipping@belgroves.com, and you'll get that information. The specialness about this plan is that no medical requirements. There's a small waiting period of 6 months to make sure, but we take anybody at any age. That is unbeatable, I share with you. For those of you out there as well, who, when you come to Trinidad and looking for good cemetery space, remember at Belgroves, we have Orange Grove Memorial Gardens, a fantastic product. It looks like a lawn year-round, but the systems we use, you wouldn't even find that. There's only one other country in this entire globe that does something near what we do, and that was in Australia. So the world-class cemetery, in fact, it doesn't even qualify as a cemetery. It's a memorial garden, lush tropical flowers around. So just check when you come into our website, look up Orange Grove Memorial Gardens or OGMG at belgroves.com. Does the deceased have to be embalmed before repatriated? By law, by international law, all deceased to be repatriated must be embalmed. All deceased to be on a ship must be embalmed. So once you have international transfer, must be embalmed. Even right here in Trinidad and Tobago, between Trinidad and Tobago, because those ships are under maritime law, the law is, again, must be embalmed. So, and as you may know, I shared it before, embalmment is a simple process of sanitation. And because we sanitize, we get temporary preservation. So, and that temporary preservation lets your relative look so good that you're comfortable with it. You know, that's one of the things we do here in Trinidad at Belgroves. We aim at supporting your bereavement process. Everything we do is aimed at that. Taking care of your loved one is something we can do nothing for them, you know. We take care of them in this special way just to demonstrate for you how your bereavement patterns. When we do this so perfectly, what happens is that your grief is lighter. And you know, that's not scientific, but it is what people have told us for over 20 years of doing bereavement counseling, that the way we did the funeral service made it so much lighter. So That is something very important at all times. When we invite you here in Trinidad and Tobago to attend these services that we do, make a point to come out. One is coming up sometime soon, so check our website for when Kerrid Sampson will have her bereavement program. It talks about grief, yes, but it also talks about memories and celebration of who the person was. And sometimes it's little tears, sometimes it's much laughter. So because it's life, and it's what life is about. And we help you honor that life. We help you celebrate who the loved one was in your family to make it so much easier at that time. People said, hey, why funerals so expensive? The topic of that. It takes a lot to operate a funeral home. The building, the facilities, the staff. For a funeral home like Belgroves, the training that we have to do, we bring in professional trainers to train our staff so they understand the psychology of death that the family faces when they come into us, that they understand why that person must look so good in your support. And those things cost money. The nature of funeral service, for a lot of people, find it a bit taboo. So finding good staff is very difficult. And as such, the salary levels that we must pay is higher than usual. I see my team here waving at me, telling me no. But no, they're just kidding, really. They're just kidding. Because when we compare, here at Belgroves, we pay rates very comparable to big international businesses here in Trinidad, because there are ways to compare it. And that cost, again, the vehicles we use for you, always full quality vehicles. We've just brought in a couple of vintage vehicles just for you. Each one of those, fancy dollars, and the maintenance, fancy dollars as well. So all of that come together. Our preparation room, commonly called the mortuary facility, is state of the art. So that, and each one of them costs a pretty penny as well to put together. When we sit with you to plan a tribute for your loved ones or for you, the time that takes to put it together, and then the time we put, the personal effort we put into making it a reality when the reality comes. And then we follow up with bereavement counseling, no charge. Because that's who we are. In the early days when we started bereavement counseling, back in 1988, when we, at our centenary celebrations, I shared then, we understood, because we were asked, why do that? As again, the only funeral home doing that. Is that your place to do that? Yes, it was. Because I shared that we understood when we said goodbye at the cemetery, we knew what you were going through after that. So we wanted to reach out there and support that. And that is the true purpose of our being at Belgroves, to support that grief. And everything else we do is subsequent or ancillary to supporting your grief and making life a little easier for you. We can't take it away, because you're the one who loved that person, and as such, that separation, that process of separation, that renewal and regrowth to the new person that you will become must take place. But we help you in those steps through it. Another question has come in. How is Belgroves taking funerals into the digital area worldwide? Well, we've been doing that for quite a while. We've been streaming funerals for quite a while. Out there in the diaspora, you can't come home these days. It's going to be a long time before countries with strong COVID experiences could come to this country. So we bring you in. We see and hear you, you see and hear us. And you can do the eulogy. You can see your cousins, your relatives, your mom. That's the quality. Check our services online. We're currently improving our website to make it more workable for you, so you can do anything you want on that website. So we are very much into the digital stage, because to be able to serve you in the 21st century and beyond, it's a digital backbone. I was looking at another question here. We have a new Tobago branch. Is there going to be a crematorium? Yeah, we understand the need in Tobago. And we've been exploring how to do it for a very long time, because a crematorium is quite a capital-intensive program. And we worked some years ago with the THA on that project. And then when finally a good plan came about, yes, we're in the process of. Because grave spaces out in Tobago, it's at a premium. It's very limited. And the reuse of grave spaces in a frequency that is not in keeping with the law, which we must do because we got to bury the people somewhere, it negatively impacts the nitrates in the groundwater. And as such, that process must change. And we are now in a new facility. It's on Auckenshaw Road in Lambo, Tobago. Very spacious, a very beautiful facility. Parking spaces, air conditioned. It's really beautiful. I think the staff outdid themselves in designing this thing, and it's really very nice. And so the funeral home part of it is currently up and running, opening, and we are currently constructing the crematorium part of it, which is on the same compound, and the equipment is already on the sea to Trinidad. So I will think at the furthest, January will be a formal opening of the Tobago crematorium. Look for it, Tobago. It's there to support you, and there will be the whole process that we will do. And look forward, we'll do a good get-together. So all our friends and supporters out there in Tobago, we will get together. Now, they're just hinting at me that we just have a few minutes to go. One question someone asked, a real Death Cafe question. What happens after death? What do you all think? Send me some questions, what your thoughts are on what you think or what your experiences have been. I had asked you some time ago, those of you who may have had experiences where someone was clinically dead and came back and shared their experiences. Yes. Share it with us. Come tell us about it. Let's talk, Death Cafe friends. Because it's all about, the purpose of this Death Cafe is about helping you and us get over this phobia of the thing we call death. I like to call it the soul has departed from the shell or the organic machine it used in its experience in this world. So people have said, and I'm taking this out of clinical death people sharing with us when they've been revived. People have said that they've seen this light and they follow the light. People said when they follow the light, they meet loved ones who predeceased them. And they talk about the beauty and peacefulness of it. If you have stories to share, you have experiences to share, come home, let's talk, let's share, so that this phobia of death, which is, I don't like the word death, I like it more, departed the body. Because the true me, when I give up this shell, I have departed to a new experience, a spiritual experience, because that's what we are. We are spiritual beings. So, friends, follow us. Follow us, check our website, check our social media, and let's have some real Death Cafe conversations. When next am I up, friends? Tell me my date so you can look out for me as we come again. And subscribe, log on, and let's develop a good network so we can talk in a meaningful way. I promised after COVID, when it's really, truly all over, maybe late this year, around All Saints, we'll do something on the ground here in Trinidad. And friends, we'll get together face to face and have some coffee and chat. So, on the 20th of July, I'll be back. We'll sit and chat. Send some real Death Cafe questions to me. Let's talk death. Talk to you soon. Bye.